Good evening, everybody. Hello, Leanne, Donna, Jules, Mittens. Every time I see you, Farmhouse Mittens, I think about that. Uh, uh, I think about that book, Goodnight Moon. Goodnight Mittens and Goodnight Kittens. So when I see Mittens in the farmhouse, uh, I think about that book because I've read it quite a few times. So, anyways, just something to think about. Um, So let's kind of jump into this if that's all right. Just kind of silence my phone, folks. And let's go to Exodus 39. Actually, believe it or not, I wrote some notes today. I'm going to start writing some notes. As I was reading today, I was like, you know what? I think I should start writing some notes. Usually I just kind of go off of memory, but it's like as some of these things get a little more complicated, and we're kind of referencing some things in the past, and I have other things that I'm working on, so I just want to kind of keep things straight. So I figure I'm gonna just kind of jot down some things here and there, and hopefully it will help me with a little more clarity and so forth. So so that's that. All right, so let's jump into. Hi, Sarah, Mason, Maria. Thanks for joining, and hope you guys all had a wonderful day. It was nice here. It was raining. I do like rain because then you just kind of relax and then chill. Hey, Dallas, hello, Shiva. So basically, in Exodus 39, hi, Holly. When you go through Exodus 39, the clothing of the priests, the making of the ephod with the gold. They kind of like flattened out gold and made it thin enough to be incorporated into the clothing and so forth. The making of the chest piece and so forth. The additional clothing for the priests. All these things Moses inspects the work, and I couldn't help but think, folks. I know this is a little goofy. Hey, Annette, how are you? So, okay. Couple things. I know I'm going to kind of combine Exodus 39 and then I guess Exodus 40. Okay, the tabernacle and so forth. So we have all these things, and when you kind of think back about what's sacred and what is profane, right? Like what is it in our lives that we truly assign a lot of value to? I think that's the key. What physical items in our life do we assign value to? Right? It's a great question. Some of us, when we go back to high school, we have a class ring. Some of us might, they might buy a class ring. A wedding ring is something that is, I guess you can say it's a symbol of a sacred act of two souls being joined together. So that's something, even though it's physical and it's profane, it holds a sacred meaning in the two individuals that exchanged it. So it may not hold meaning to anybody else other than the two parties involved, right? Fair enough? Okay. So, that's an example of both sacred and profane. It's sacred. It can be sacred and profane to the same person, but to somebody else, it could just be profane. Okay. So sure enough. Okay. So then, when you kind of look at all of this metal, all this gold that was incorporated into the clothing, into various rings, into the whole design, and so forth. And you also think about there's in a lot of religious ceremony, right? There's a tremendous amount of washing that takes place, washing of the hands and washing of the feet. Now it just so happens, folks, I know I'm Roman Catholic, and I think I consider myself a somewhat religious person. I also happen to I happen to study spirituality in general. So some of these other concepts with regards to other spiritual type of things I've looked into, like looking into your chakras, looking into, whatever. You can look into Hinduism. You can look into I guess I don't want to say I kind of go off the path and focus on these things, but I do think about these concepts about how they relate to my faith. So I kind of go in there and I kind of look at what they're doing. I kind of sneak in. Hey, what are you guys talking about over here? It looks really interesting. Let's see if I can relate what you guys are doing to what I believe in, and so forth. And so when I do that, right, I think about the whole concept of us being a circuit. So I think I mentioned this maybe 40 hours ago. This is day 46. So maybe we talked about it in the first 6 hours of this whole thing. So one of the things I did remember bringing up, and I think it ties into this 39 and 40 pretty well, is this concept of how our energetic or magnetic field flows around us. And our bodies are set up in a way, it's very similar to the magnetic force that is around planet Earth. And so we have these magnetic waves that protect Earth from various cosmic rays and radiation that would literally destroy our atmosphere and kill us. Like, we wouldn't be here. And so if it wasn't for this magnetic repulsion that took place, these microwaves and these really incredibly tiny waves would completely annihilate everything on this planet. So we wouldn't be here, folks, and nothing else would really be here either. We'd probably be like the moon or something, or maybe possibly Mars. So this, using this whole concept with regards to fractals, once again, fractals, that same structure and that same flow of energy that protects the planet also it protects us as human beings. It's pretty wild. So our heart, if you think about it, we take a jolt. If somebody has a heart attack, they need to have their heart turned back on. Well, we also are an electrical current. So our body is an electrical system, and we have this current or chi or flow of energy that kind of it comes out from our heart chakra and then moves out, and then it kind of loops in like a circular motion. Now, I'm not going to kid you here. I'm going to tell you, like, I used to go and see a Tai Chi master for a few years, actually, when I lived in Chicago, and I used to see him once a week for 2 hours, and he did a lot of body work. Like, when I mean body work, what does that mean? You're like, what the hell are you talking about? What is body work? So, it's not massage, folks. Body work is clearing out your energy, and so you need to be able to handle an extreme amount of pain. But what happens is you flatten your energy in your body by kind of like Thai massage techniques. With the elbow, with the ball of the foot. So it's a combination of like Thai massage, where you were literally just scraping all the crap that builds up in your body, and it's flattening it all out. Now, keep in mind, when you do this, this may be the sensation that some people get with drugs, right? Because you are just flying, like, in terms of the pain turns into pleasure. There's something to be said about that. With things cycle in pain and pleasure. Some people seek pleasure and then it turns into pain, but there's this ebb and flow between pain and pleasure. Well, this whole process, when you get this stuff cleared out, okay, when you practice Tai Chi, right? Tai Chi afterwards, right? Because it's like when you do Tai Chi and you see all these movements, right, in the park and on video and so forth, it's usually older Chinese people or something. That's the stereotype. You can kind of feel, right? You can kind of feel, like when you do it, it kind of looks as though someone's moving their hand around like this, right? You're kind of moving and shaking your hand. I know this is a long-winded answer, but it does tie into this, folks, believe it or not, because I wrote down some notes about this. So when I first started to do this, right, and this Tai Chi master, I ended up going to Thailand for 10 days to Chiang Mai in the mountains. This was, I think, in my probably my early 30s or something. went there with him. He took me to show me around because he went to Thailand at least once a year for like 6 weeks. And then I went there with my wife, and I literally had 6 to 8 hours of body work done every day. 6 to 8 hours, folks. So for 10 days, I was beat the hell out of it. Just beat the hell out of my body. And, in terms of deep tissue, nerve work, they kind of, I went to go and have some body work done by some people that were blind. So the blind, people that are blind that do body work on you, they have a completely different flow because they kind of go off of what they feel your chi is. So how your energy is flowing. And these folks are really good. They would totally find out what the hell is going on, in your body. And they seem to pinpoint it, and they kind of they can go right into the nook and cranny. And I got to tell you, I had flashbacks. I did this for 10 days. I mean, flashbacks to grammar school, high school, like everywhere in between. A lot of purple, and at first, as you're first doing this, right, you're just trying to just breathe and just deal with all this pain. But the good thing is, it does clear out. So all this gunk, you got all this gunk in your body. It's like, and you're kind of trying to clear it out. But after I did this, it only took me 10 days and probably 60 hours of massage to kind of undo a lifetime of abuse. I highly recommend everybody should be getting massages, by the way, folks. I think it's a mandatory thing. You need to incorporate it in your life at least once every 2-3 months at a minimum. But in an ideal world, you should try to get one at least once a month. Ideally, if you can afford it, you should try to go once a week. I do think it has an insane impact on your life and well-being and your health and everything. You'll get your money's worth, folks. And if you can't afford it, and you don't have that kind of money in your budget to do such a thing, hot water baths, like really warm water, that really breaks up any kind of gunk in your body. And then read something or listen to a book on tape or something. But it does huge things. But anyways, when I came back from this experience, I'm going to tie it back to this whole thing with Exodus and this whole sacred ritual that they follow, because I do think I don't think it's a coincidence that some of these other religions, other parts of the world, how they do things, their protocol, kind of living through it, like, almost in some respect, kind of like accident. I just said, you know what? I just wanted to go see what the hell this was all about. Right. And so, he asked me, because I was seeing him every week for like 2 years straight. And I think I was seeing him probably, I think for like a year or 2 years straight. And then he finally said, hey, you ever think you want to go to Thailand? Like, what the hell, what do you want? What do you think I should go to Thailand for? And he said, if you want to dial it up, if you want to really have them beat, like really get rid of all this gunk in your body. And so I said, sure, I'll give it a shot. Go into the mountains. It was an hour, I think, north of Bangkok and so forth. And I had to spend like $2,000 on vaccinations, folks. Now, keep in mind, I didn't mind getting vaccinated back then. There was no controversy. But I had to get vaccinated for like Japanese encephalitis, which is some kind of bug that eats at your brain because of the rice fields and all this other crazy stuff. Flora, because I might get some kind of massive bacterial infection in my gut because of the way the sanitation is there. Anyways, it was an interesting regimen I had to follow before I went. But going back to this whole concept, when I got back, a couple things. When I would do Tai Chi then, after I got back, and I kind of would move my hands around something or around somebody, I could literally, like even when I do it right now, to this day, I can feel the flow of my energy as it goes up and down. Like I can feel it. It's almost like it's in front of me. Like, I know this sounds a little silly, folks, and I know this isn't what you traditionally think when you're talking about the greatest book ever written, but I'm trying to tie it to this, because then when I do this, like even to this day, if I go like this, I can feel the energy outside of my hand. It's really crazy. It's super cool at the same time. So it's like wow, that's crazy, but it's super cool. Like, I'm glad I could do this. I can, and maybe this whole experience cleared out a lot of stuff so that I could feel my body just evaporate. Like, I don't feel like I'm in it when I do some deep meditation and so forth, and kind of check out of this world because this world is nuts. So sometimes I just want to. I'm going to leave for a little bit and I'll come on back. And so anyways, that whole sensation when I read this with regards to ceremony and, the importance of washing the hands and the importance of washing the feet. Well, if you think about us as a circuit, our hands, we have a tremendous amount of energy and nerve endings, like in our hands, especially all of our hands and the tips of our fingers, etc. And we have a tremendous amount of energy in our feet. So the balls of our feet, the whole base of the foot, etc. And, if you damage your hand or you damage your foot anyway, it really screws up the rest of your body and screws up your emotions, your mental state, a lot of stuff. There's a lot of problems that come. And I think what tends to happen is you kind of screw up your receptors. So if you think about us like a circuit, like we're an energy, and we deal with other people around us, and if our circuitry is clean, and you clean the contact, right? That's the purpose of the water. It's kind of like, you ever see those things like, with the spark plug, the sparkers, like, when you're trying to jump a car, you hit the things. Same thing. If you clean your hands, you clean your source of contact, your hands and your feet, you're more receptive to the energy around you. And I don't think it's a coincidence, folks, that these parts of the ceremonies were so important, is to wash your hands, wash your feet, and clear your contacts with your environment and who you're around. Now, I agree with you, Holly. It is super, super important to walk in the grass, because, I will say that, I had a friend from graduate school that used to say, you should never forget, regardless of how smart we think we are as human beings, that at the end of the day, we're also animals. And I know that's a tough thing for people to kind of acknowledge, but we are of this earth. We come into this earth. Our spirit kind of came into this earth, and then our body, grew out of, obviously the environment of this earth, our parents and so forth. But as such, we tend to gravitate toward water and we gravitate toward land, and, enjoying and tying into water and land refreshes your soul. And I think a lot of people that get depressed or get down, they're not outside enjoying the land and the earth. And I don't think it's a coincidence. A lot of these damn lockdowns were about destroying people's connection with the earth. So not only they destroy our connection, they were trying to destroy our connection with each other with regards to religious experiences. They're also trying to destroy, Holly, definitely it does ground you. They were trying to destroy our connection to earth and pulling that energy from that as well. So when I kind of think about this whole concept of the sacred nature, the profane and then the sacred, this gold, all this gold that's around, right? Gold is very conductive. It's a super conductive type of material. It's not a superconductor. I'm saying it's really exceptional at conducting. Okay. A lot of gold in electronics, folks, because the amount of time that it takes to send a current is much faster with gold than other types of metals and so forth, and probably because it's an element. And so the nice thing about an element, if you want to think about it from a scientific perspective, is elements are only the same particle, right? There is no other bond in it. It's like pure. It's purely it's organizational design of each and every each and every, I don't want to say cell, that's cells in human bodies, but each molecule and each building block of gold is gold, is gold, is gold, is gold. Like everything is just gold. And there is nothing else that messes with that flow of energy. That's the cool thing about elements. If you think about elements in that perspective, then you know that it's in a pure state. So if you think about us trying to create a pure state of being a human being and connecting to our God, it makes sense that we would try to connect with God through a pure state of using like gold, using gold in some of the threads in the material, using gold with the medallion or the plate. I think is called the holy of the Lord. The medallion that was made out of gold. All those types of things that we view as sacred, right? And they're profane, but when we put them into our ceremonies, they become sacred. And the fact that this energy, everybody's kind of washing their hands, everybody's got this electrical charge coming. There's strength in numbers. If you think about it, it's like a chemical bond. You got all these folks together. Everybody's kind of coming together. Once again, this is the fractal stuff. And then when you're all together, you have a group and everybody's praying together. And then you have the same kind of ceremonies of what's taking place. Incredible things happen. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I think this is a result of things that we don't fully understand. But if we follow some of the same processes that work on a micro level as an aggregate human level, I do think that I think that's why we see some of these things play out. So, that's kind of my takeaway on this. And obviously, the burnt offering, the grain offering, going on the whole thing of burnt, there's something about taking something that is a bunch of different chemicals, right? It's very, very hard to burn an element, folks. So elements in a pure form are very hard. I think they take a much higher heating to take place to kind of break down an element or try to break it down, because it's an element by its very definition. It's elemental. It's element, I think that's the word, elemento. It can't be broken down. It's in its pure state. So it can possibly be shrunk, it's not broken down, it just kind of changes its shape, but it can't get broken down below that elemental level. And so when you burn something in an offering, you take structurally, you're breaking it down to its very elements. So, if you take material, like let's just say wood, if you think about wood and you burn it, you're creating CO2, right? And I guess vapor. So everything that what is wood? What is nothing more than carbon, and it's stored carbon. And when animals and plants die, when they turn into mush, they kind of turn into oil, right? They turn into coal. And so once again, it's a different form of carbon. So if you think about all the carbon in the world that we kind of use, like wood is a carbon that grew, right, from a tree that was alive, but other carbon's energy sources, carbon is, in a sense, it's collecting carbon dioxide, and trees breathe out oxygen, right? That's why we breathe. And so, anyways, this is kind of what's going on with these ceremonies. This is why the clothes are important. This is why setting the mood, setting the feel for everybody to get there. You got to remember, folks, back then, and even to this day, we're kind of running on fumes. A lot of people are overworked. They don't make a lot of time for themselves and their family, and that's a perpetual hamster wheel, so to speak. And, I got to tell you, like even myself, I do like the Phoenix example. Oh, excuse me. As I'm talking about being, like burning the candle a little too much at times. No, but all joking aside, Most people, they go years with just running themselves down. And, it's one thing to go, you do a sprint, you do something for a couple months, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month, a week. But then if you try to do that same kind of routine for 5, 10 years, 20 years, I do think it has an impact on your life. And I do think it impacts your health, or it can impact your life where you get it cut short. So I do think it's important to find whatever that balance is for you. And you need to know what your limits are and how often you need to recharge your body. That's super important, folks. And so, going through this, if back then life was very difficult, in life, as life is very difficult, and you can disconnect from the profane, the everyday occurrence of these difficulties, and you can transport yourself back to an elemental state. So like pureness, you're around elements, you're around the connection, you wash your hands, you're around other people that are also looking and craving for that purity of connection to God. I can see how people would get recharged and be ready to take on the world. And I think that's what's pretty wild. This is what's going on. I'm kind of missing a couple things here. I don't know what you're talking about with regards to being rude. I'm sorry, John, I don't recall. But in terms of, somebody said something. I don't think Bobby realized it. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. So anyways, it's okay. I don't, sometimes I kind of I kind of drift off into what I'm talking about. So I apologize if I don't see what's on the right with the comments. I'm trying to think through what I'm seeing when I read the words and when I think about what I read. And maybe that's why I talk so much. It's a stream of consciousness of what I'm seeing in when I read these things and what comes into my mind. So going to, Matthew, I'm sorry. Oh, well, boy, we lost Matthew, folks. Matthew's no longer with us, at least for the time being. We're on to Mark. So anyways, I'm going to miss Matthew. I miss Matthew already. We're on to Mark number 1. So maybe we'll have to do some like reprisals. We'll go back and just randomly pick something that Matthew talked about. Because anyways, you guys all know what I think about Matthew. So this is the good news about Jesus, the Messiah, the Son of God. It began just as the prophet Isaiah had written. Look, I am sending my messenger ahead of you, and he will prepare your way. He is a voice shouting in the wilderness. Prepare the way for the Lord's coming. Clear the road for him. And that person was John the Baptist, right? And so, funny story, folks, and true story. I saved it. I think it was on Twitter before they took my account down. I woke up and, I kind of went through this footprints dream, the 2 sets of footprints in the beach. And I kind of wrote about it and I tweeted it out, so forth. And then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, I know it sounds crazy, but life is a crazy thing. Like I decided that I basically gave President Trump a blessing. And I said, President Trump, if we ever meet, I just want you to know, I'll explain why I'm doing this to you in person. But I just want to baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And I want to clear your energy and stuff, So I didn't think anything of it, right? I'm like, okay, I don't know why I keep having this dream. I'm supposed to baptize you this morning, but I got to get it off my chest. I'm going to baptize you and move on, right? So then I get some messages, I don't know, 2-3 hours later, and people are like, do you know what today is? And I'm like, no, what's today? It's like, today's the festival of baptism by John the Baptist. And I'm like, I have no idea. I just, I have this stuff flow into me, and it kind of keeps ringing sometimes, and I just need to get rid of it. I don't say it in a mean way. I need to carry on with my day. I need to kind of you get it moved on and say, okay, I'm a circuit. I'm just bringing this in and get a move on, folks. Whatever this is that's coming through me, kind of move on your way, and I got to go back to what I was working on. And anyways, I have it saved, but it was kind of funny because as I was reading this with John the Baptist, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool that he's talking about this. The messenger was John the Baptist. He was in the wilderness, preached, and people were baptized to show they would be repented their sins and turn to God to be forgiven. Okay, so John announced, someone is coming soon who is greater than I am, so much greater that I'm not worthy to stoop down like a slave and untie the straps of his sandals. I baptize you with water, but he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit. So then, that's a pretty powerful statement, right? When somebody can baptize you with water, right? But then someone will baptize you with the Holy Spirit. Now, keep in mind, folks, what we just talked about with all this chi. And that's what I'm saying. God works in mysterious ways, right? Because I'm talking about all this chi, talking about this energy. And the energy from the universe and the energy of connecting to God and kind of freeing your spirit from this human form, I do view that as your spirit, like this spirit that John the Baptist is talking about. And then one of the ways that you can get baptized before you pull in this energy to do what I'm talking about, this transformative process of your body, and kind of shedding it, even if it's just temporary, or you move into another dimension or something, and we can't really recognize it. We just kind of bounce in and out, almost like quantum mechanics, where like we could be in multiple locations at the exact same time. So we might be in this life, but then who knows when we dream and we sleep, if we kind of pop into another life, or another part of the universe, because just like we don't really have a manual, or there's no instruction book, or there's no photo that we take. We take a quick little snapshot of the way our brain takes something from here and throws it over here. It's just not the way it works. But somehow our brain has all these, billions of neurons firing, and it's just instantaneous. Like we have thoughts that come together and form into something unique and special in how we view the world. And then we're pulling in all this information through sensors. So when I think about John the Baptist talking about our hands, being baptized in water, I think of that as John the Baptist kind of cleared the circuit. He's kind of like, okay, now the fireworks are coming, folks. we're gonna clear this circuit with some water. And then once this water is cleared, Jesus is going to come in and he's going to hit you. He's going to hit you pretty good. And so anyways, that's kind of how I view, this whole thing with regards to Mark. And when I think about John the Baptist, this is what I'm kind of thinking about. And so the time promised by God has come at last. The kingdom of God is near. Repent of your sins and believe in the good news. Okay, Jesus called on them, come follow me, and I will show you how to fish for people. And be quiet, come out, man. So, it's kind of interesting, right? Because, Jesus is saying, I'm going to help you learn how to fish for people, and you think about that saying, and, it's, when you kind of go through this world, and you meet different people, and you think about who you resonate with. I like to use the word resonance. And resonance is a frequency or a wave vibration. And we've talked about this before with regards to, like wave theory, and that if we're a current, and we pick up energy and then we send out energy, and that energy, I think, is tied to what our soul or our spirit is. And that's why we're in this body. And then, I've thought a lot about this a lot, right? Because, I don't know, I thought about this decades ago because I was always fascinated by why people get electrocuted. I don't know why. When I was young, back in grammar school and then in high school, and you kind of hear this idea that if, you're standing in water and somebody drops something electrical into the water, it kills you, right? And I'm like, how in the world does that happen? Like why is this little electrical current that kind of flows through water can knock you out and kill you? And so, I think that I think about that, because when he's saying, "Come follow me, I'll show you how to fish for people," I don't think about people the way Jesus says this. It kind of sounds like people in the human form, our physical being. But my interpretation of it is different. I think it was a spiritual form. He's going to go teach people how to pull their energy together and to transform the world for the better. And so that's the real meaning of the good word, the word, the truth, and the way. When I think about all the teachings of Christ and what Christ is trying to say, is he's basically saying, look, it's impossible to try to do anything by yourself. I mean, it's impossible. If you want to try to be disconnected from all the other human beings and spirits around you, good luck with that. You're going to be in a lot of pain. But if you connect and you flow in, you kind of move into the current, and you connect with other human beings, and you experience what you need to experience to make the world a better place, you'll feel that oneness, and you'll be at one with God. You'll be at one in one body and one spirit in Christ. And that is, I think, what he means by this fishing for people, is that you want to pull more positive energy to collate, into what we are as a not just as spirits, but also as a nation. So if you think about go back in time and you think about American history, you think about different years in time that you were prouder to be an American. Like, what years were you proud to be an American? I think about that movie with hockey, Miracle, the movie Miracle, right? About the 1980 Olympic team of a bunch of young kids that were 18 years old. It's a great movie if you haven't seen it. And they defeated the Russians, who were undefeated for like 10, 20 years. And it was Herb Brooks, and he gave a great speech. He did all this stuff. And when he did all that, he helped America get a jolt back get out of its funk. We had a horrible, horrible president, this guy named Jimmy Carter, if anybody remembers, telling everybody to lower their expectations. This guy was a loser. I'm sorry. Anybody who's telling people as human beings to lower your expectations in terms of what you can be, and I don't care where your station is in life, your expectations of where you can be can always be infinitely higher. Now, your infinitely higher might be different than somebody else's infinitely higher, but that's the beauty of infinity. Infinity knows no bounds. So what you achieve on an individual level, you're on your spectrum, your infinity kind of flows at a different trajectory or different pace than somebody else. But who's to say that somebody else who had a faster pace than you doesn't get taken out of this life before you? So you should always be grateful. Sometimes it's like, somebody else is going really fast, and you're like, wow, that's something else. They're going fast, and they got their infinity's higher than mine. But then meanwhile, they die 20, 30 years before you do. So take everything with a grain of salt is what I'm trying to say. And so this whole concept, I think, is super cool, and I think it's it's pretty interesting. I think fishing for men is bringing sisters to Yahshua. What happened with Georgia now? What's going on, KP? Sorry, I'm getting a little sidetracked. I just look over for a second and I see the word disappointment when I'm talking about raising expectations. KP Monty, what are you doing to me here? We were just talking about why it's important to stay positive, and you're bringing in disappointment from Georgia. So what the hell is going on? Are you sure you're in the right chat? What's going on in Georgia right now? And then we're going to go on to the next one here. Okay, so we are going to go to Psalms 35. Oh, you're talking about Georgia. You're talking about Jimmy Chipwitz. Anyways, that's from the movie Hoosiers. If you guys remember Jimmy Chipwitz. Oh, good Lord, what's with Jimmy? Yeah, no. Georgia has its own problems. I'm hoping they get them fixed up. But let's go to Psalm 35. O Lord, oppose those who oppose me. Fight those who fight against me. Put on your armor and take up your shield. Prepare for battle and come to my aid. Lift up your spear and javelin against those who pursue me. Let me hear you say, I will give you victory. Bring shame and disgrace on those trying to kill me. Turn them back and humiliate those who want to harm me. Blow them away like chaff in the wind, a wind set by the angel of the Lord. Make their path dark and slippery, with the angel of the Lord pursuing them. I did them no wrong, but they laid a trap for me. I did them no wrong, but they dug a pit to catch me. So let sudden ruin come upon them. Let them be caught in the trap they set for me. Let them be destroyed in the pit they dug for me. Then I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be glad because he rescues me. With every bone in my body I will praise him. Lord, who can compare with you? Who else rescues the helpless from the strong? Who else protects the helpless and the poor from those who rob them? And so, obviously, I do like the vengeance is mine, says the Lord. When I think about all this stuff, and we think about our life in this physical form, if you believe, I'm assuming everybody who's here, maybe there's somebody else that doesn't believe this, but I do believe that we're spirits in human form. We're not humans in spirit form. But I also happen to believe, if you believe, talking about fractals, fractal geometry and so forth, that there's things that are happening in our brain that we can't see and we don't understand, and they go lightning fast. And now we've tried to replicate them in the physical world through processors, microprocessors, and so forth. But if we know the power that our brain has, that's something that only weighs 2 or 3 pounds, and the amount of computational power it has on so little wattage. You think about how little energy our brain needs to operate at an incredibly complicated pace relative to any computer out there. And when you kind of combine that, and then you kind of read this Psalms 35, and you're like, okay, Jesus, what's going on here, folks? We've seen this. I'm sure everybody has seen this in various movies and so forth. It's like usually sometimes where it's like all of a sudden someone closes their eyes and they just disappear, right? They go into a different dimension. There's a lot of sci-fi shows like that. And I think some of these shows and some of these lessons that they talk about in these shows is a reflection of what we know deep down inside, that we have that capability, that each of us has much more power than we understand how to tap into. And we're kind of like fuddling around, kind of almost like a child, right? That's why there's an analogy of God being the father and us being children. But we just don't realize how much power and knowledge and wisdom that we can all tap into. This whole concept of tapping into the ether. And, I do believe that we have incredible ability to do these things, folks. I really do. And I think that we all develop at a different pace with regards to how we absorb that information. But what I will tell you is, as you learn how to do it, it gets more and more interesting. It definitely does get interesting. And I think that your brain and your spirit has to calibrate to it. I have noticed the calibration process. I observe a lot, and when I kind of go through life, I try to pay attention to as much detail as I can, not just in my environment, but what the hell's going on in me. It's just a habit of mine. If I kind of notice I got different thoughts kind of coming in, what the hell is this coming from? Where's this coming? Like I just like to know who's driving what ideas, and what's coming into me, and why. How much of it's just random? How much of it's coming from different ideas that I'm blending together? All those types of things kind of flow in. And so, I think I do think that when he's talking about this. Oh boy, I think I'm gonna need to go to bed early today, folks. He's talking about this in Psalms 35, and wherever we are, where like in this physical form, I mean, I do think that if God wanted to, I mean, I could just vanish. You'd be like, what the hell happened to Bobby? It's like we just particle away. Like we said, we can, if you eliminate all the space in every single one of our cells and every single human being on Earth, we could all fit into the size of a sugar cube. That's how much space is in everything that we do, and that gives you an idea that we're just literally we're little micro worlds of information on each of the cells that kind of collect us up into this human form. So anyways, so when I think about this, I'm kind of thinking about it from physics and maybe quantum mechanics and how we're kind of possibly jumping through different energy states, and that that would be pretty cool. You know what? I think it would be pretty cool to try to take some of the concepts of quantum mechanics and then read some of these passages with quantum mechanics. I never really thought about kind of combining it until just now. It only took me 46 days to think about some of the stuff I've read in quantum mechanics and throw it into the Bible. But I'm thinking about it from this standpoint with Mark 1, and then with Psalms 35 and how those two are related. I'm very eclectic. I don't know. I've had a weird day. I mean, I've had a good day. I got a lot of research done in my job for companies. I'm kind of quiet. When I get in the zone, I'm just reading and thinking about the world. I kind of go a little radio silent. But then, I had some stuff with yesterday with this whole thing with regards to the Geneva race. I talked to the person who's in charge. His name is Jack Cunningham. Okay, so this guy is I don't think he likes me very much, folks. So this guy is he's the county clerk of Kane County. Now keep in mind, he's been a precinct committeeman. He's proud of this, folks, and that's okay. It's okay for him to be proud. I get it. He's been involved in politics since 1948. Okay, so he's been around doing this for like 73 years. So I'm like, okay, you're 73. You started as a young guy, and I'm like, okay, I'm listening. And I've heard his story before, by the way. This isn't new. And I met him a couple times in person, and he goes, yeah, I've been doing this, Bobby, since 1948. I became a PC in 1960, and and I don't know why he always has to repeat his whole life history to me when I call to ask him a damn question. But I basically reached out to him. I said, Jack, I want to audit the vote. I want to audit the vote of, Geneva. I think there's some problems. And he goes, what are you talking about? And I said, look, I think there's some problems in the data. I said, I looked at the census numbers. You had 16,766 people that were registered to vote, and that's more than the census suggests we should have in registered voters, because when you subtract out the people that are under the age of 18, we should have about 100. We have 125 more than 100% everybody being registered as a voter. Now, keep in mind, folks, somebody texted me and they go, Bobby, you said 18 and under. I said, I did that to see if people paid attention. So sometimes I'll like put a little error in there. I just want to see if somebody will actually pay attention and catch the damn error. But I did that. just to have fun with it today, folks. I was just having a little, feeling a little festive when I typed that up this morning. But I sometimes do that just to see if there's somebody that's going to say something. Like if are people taking the time to just read my sentence construction, what the hell I wrote. But anyways, I'm bringing up Jack because this guy just got super, super duper hot today. He got so upset with regards to me asking to audit the vote. And he basically said, he goes, look, Bobby, I'm not your damn attorney. He goes, yeah, I'm not your attorney. I get paid, I am a lawyer, but I'm not your attorney. And if you want an attorney, then you have to pay to get the answers to these questions, because he says that you have no legal grounds to request a recount of these votes. That's what he said to me. And I said, he goes, you have no legal ground you have no legal grounds to do this. And I said, well, what if I just want to check the vote? I don't agree. I got to maybe try to key it, what's the word? True it up, because I said these numbers don't fit. And he got super angry. This is a guy in his 90s, folks. I kind of do this sometimes to people. I just kind of rub them the wrong way. And I said, I guess I'm going to have to talk to an attorney then, And he just slammed the phone down. Just because you won't give me an answer. I just wanted to know what's the process for me to get a copy of the votes. I go, look, I just want to come in, maybe hire a team or something, bring in a few people, we'll check the votes, get everything canvassed. And he lost it, folks. And now keep in mind, I heard, and I said, that's bogus. I heard that he liked the guy that was running against Kevin Chicken Legs Burns. Now keep in mind, there was somebody that texted me today and go, Bobby, why do you have to say this chicken legs business? Why do you have to make fun of people? I said, you know what? I got to deal with this shit. I said, I'm going to try to make it fun for me too. So I said, for me, I want Kevin Chicken Legs Burns to be remembered nationwide when I'm done with him. He wanted to be famous. I'm going to try to make him infamous. I'm going to show the whole world how corrupt this guy is. And I'm going to go through, and maybe he's watching. Maybe he's got a little minion out there, a little minion on the computer. Hey, minion, little Burns minion. I want to go through all these reports. I'm going to take the time. I know how to organize the data. I know how to move through data pretty fast. And I'm looking forward to seeing if volunteers show up to help. So if any of you out there are interested in helping me kind of take this as a case study, dissecting Geneva, Illinois from start to finish, and we look through the budgets, we look at how the money changed hands, what the hell's going on with the state money flows, how is the money flowing, all the minutes. I'm going to pull all the minutes of Geneva for the past 20 years, all the meeting minutes for all the board meetings. And I think I'm going to, I know what I'm going to do with it. I'm not going to talk about it. I don't want to blow I don't want them to try to manipulate something, but I'm going to do some stuff with all those minutes that they probably never had anybody do it to. And if it works for Geneva, you better be damn sure it's going to work everywhere else in this country. So I'm going to try to put together an infrastructure and a process that allows anybody to just check how corrupt their own government is and how much they're being cheated. And so if I can do such a thing, the big thing that is important to me, is I can't help but think that it's a weird thing, right? Because I was thinking about this today, and if anybody watched my talk this morning, I talked about this whole concept of delegation, right? Because I kind of like to go at one pace, and sometimes I don't like to try to slow down and delegate or go through stuff, because then it kind of changes my tempo and it kind of throws me out of my zone, and it's a tough thing, right? Because I'm trying to figure out how to do that at times and so forth. And so, as I'm kind of doing this, I'm trying to think through how to optimize everybody's talents, because there's a lot of people that have contacted me, and I'm sorry if I'm not as fast to get back to everybody as I would like, that want to make a huge change in this country for the better, and trying to figure out how to mobilize all these folks that want to do this, and we're all in this together to change it for the better, is super important to me, because the way I look at the problem is the following way, folks. I think about it this way, and I've been thinking about like this. I think about a year ago in March, I started thinking about life this way. And maybe it's because I was about to turn 45. I have no idea. Maybe I just got infused with the Holy Spirit coming into me. Something changed, and I can't. I thought about it for years, but then something kind of happened, and I kind of got a little bit of a. I got a little bit of a warning. So I got a spiritual warning from God, and God said, "You're either going to step up, or I'm going to take your ass out of here." He didn't use that language. I just kind of added the color, from me. But he brought my wife into my life, and he gave me these beautiful children with her, and he's given me a bunch of good things and good fortune over my lifetime. I've just been blessed. I've been, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I've had a very blessed life. On anything I've attempted to do, I've for the most part have accomplished it. If I haven't changed my mind, so it's like if my mind is set, usually I'll accomplish it. And if the few things that I don't accomplish, there's an accomplishment embedded in them that I don't realize at the time. So even these things that kind of aggravate me, that it didn't play out the way I wanted, I look at it in hindsight, and sometimes I've done some things on purpose to have them not work out to create something else. But it's a really deep philosophical conversation to have over a couple glasses of wine or something. But anyways, one of the things that I think is instrumental or powerful, and I think it's transformative in any of us, and so forth, is if you really believe you're gone, right? Let's just assume, we don't wake up tomorrow. One of us is gone, or all of us. We're all out of here. Like all of us just die tomorrow. Like none of us are waking up. And then you're like, holy cow, man, is that it? I mean, that's it. We're all gone. Like none of us are waking up. And I tried, but sometimes when I go to bed, I kind of have these thoughts, like this thought about, okay, it's it. This is it. I hope I had a good day. Like this is my last day on earth. Okay. And I play these mental games with myself, and I'm like, okay, if I got to come back tomorrow, what the hell would I do? What would Bobby show up and do if he came back? And so I started thinking like that, a few years ago, but really thinking like that more so maybe about 18 months ago. So it's weird timing with all this stuff going on in the country, because I was thinking about this, for a few years. And one of the things I thought about is, okay, I know how to make money. I've never had a problem knowing how to make money in my life. I know how to make money for other people. I know how to make money for myself. And then a few years ago, I just when I met my second wife, I just said, a little while into it, I said, I don't want anything in my name. I don't want any money in my name. And it's a weird thing to say to somebody that you're dating seriously and then possibly going to get married. And she was, she's a very open-minded person, and she wanted to understand, what the hell are you doing? Like, why would you want to give up everything you have and then trust me? Don't get me wrong. She's like, this is cool that you trust me that much and stuff, and because I know how to make a lot of money. And I said, I said, look, I don't want anything in my name, and I'm going to be under your good graces, but the one thing that you will never have is my intellectual property. So anything I know how to think and create, from anything that I build, anything I write, is never yours. But anything I make with what I build and create, it will all go into your name and the children's name. And I said, I can live with that. I can live with that risk. And that was kind of how I reconciled it in terms of having some peace and so forth. But why am I telling you all this? Because, I met my wife, we have a couple kids, we have a third kid, and God's basically kind of like, he's kind of hitting the watch. He's like, look here. He's like, you got till the end of the year, buddy. And I told my wife, I go, I don't know what the hell. I go, I'm running out of time. She goes, what do you mean you're running out of time? I said, if I don't start doing what God wants me to do, he's taking me out. at the end of 2020. And so I'm laughing about it. I'm laughing, but at the same time, it's a little freaky, folks, because you're like, wait a second. Like, am I going to, why am I having these dreams? I'm going to die of a heart attack. Like, what the hell is going on here? And I'm sharing a lot with you folks, but this really did happen. You could talk to my wife about it. Like, but I was kind of like I was a little shocked because I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to do. Right? You kind of like you gotta step up and do something. So I'm like, well, show me what the hell you want me to do. Like, what do you? Don't I don't know where the hell I'm supposed, where am I supposed to look? Where's this going to come from? So then I just kind of prayed on it. Like, I'm just going to pray. I'm going to pray. Where's this coming from? What do I need to do? To utilize my talents to get a little more time. So anyways, and then voila, I get a call, on a Friday afternoon. It's whatever. I think it was the 27th of November. It's like 5 days after my birthday, and I'm sitting there and I'm about to, get a glass of wine. I'm like, okay, the day's over. I'm gonna just chill, and then all of a sudden, Liz Harris calls me up and says, "Hey, Bobby, can you take a look at this data? Give me your thoughts. I see that you set up this group about audit the vote." And I said, sure, send me some stuff over. I'll take a look. And then, she sends me the file, and I said, well, this is kind of interesting. Do you have more data? I'll take a look at more of it. And she goes, sure. And then she dumps another file. And I'm like, whoa, man, there's some real big problems here. I said, do you know what to do with this? Because this is not simple stuff that you're asking me to do. And she's like, no, I have no idea what the hell needs to be done. But here, can you do something with these files? I need to come up with some answers by Monday. And I said, well, I go, don't count on me for the answers. I go, so if you have other people you want to give this to that are going to tell you they're going to give you an answer, then give it to them. But what I will say is that I'll go over it, and then whatever answers fall out, I'll share with you. So that's it. So I said, I'll share whatever I see. I don't have any expectations of what I should see, and that's not the way I do things. And I just want to make it really clear to you that I kind of go with the flow, right? That's it. I kind of go with what I see, what flows out of the data, and I'll just present everything and so forth. One second. So that was that. So it took me, 30 hours or whatever. And it's been an interesting little roller coaster ever since. And so I will say that I will be working on that Arizona data. I'm very excited about it. And I have to assemble this workstation that I got. And, and maybe you guys will see me with my setup. I may show it once I get it set up here. But I've had a lot of dreams of what needed to be done for Arizona. I had a lot of dreams about what I wrote and that I did for Pennsylvania. So the race that I did was Pennsylvania 4. It was for Kathy Barnett. She contacted me to look at the data. I did the data. I did an in-depth analysis. For some reason, she withheld it. I got upset about that. And then I told her I don't want her money because she's not sharing it with the public. She tried to tell me that it was her data because she paid me for the work. And I said, that's not what we agreed to. When I create something, it's like an artist. You don't get to own what a musician produces. You get to pay to use it, but it's not yours. And so this is why I kind of parted ways with her and shared all and said, you know what, I want nothing to do with you. And I signed the affidavits, gave it to Linwood and Sidney Powell, and published it. I think some of my stuff was. I know I wrote some stuff and went and explained some of it with Michael Adams and explained. I did some write-ups and so forth. But that's the deal, folks. And so with this stuff, with regards to why I stepped into it, so I'm not this pious person you guys may all think or something. Like I'm just like everybody else. I'm just kind of like going through my life, and then I just kind of get this knock on the door, like, hey, you better get your shit together, buddy, and start. You got to do this other stuff. You were given these gifts, and you're supposed to step up and fulfill your part of the deal. And if you don't, it's okay. You're going to be gone. And anyways, so that was that. So here I am. So I'm excited. Like I said, I'm excited about what's going to come out of Arizona. I do think that the analysis that I'm going to perform, if it does go public the way I think it will, I think it will truly transform Arizona and possibly much more beyond Arizona. So I'm very optimistic about it from what I've seen. And so once I kind of get it going, it's going to leave the first level or first stage of work that I've done in the dust. And I don't say that lightly. But what I did was 30 hours of work. And then now I've had at least 300, 400 hours of thinking about this stuff. And so once I kind of apply all the things that I've seen and what I can process now, and I have better equipment, I'm very excited to do my part and help. And so I've met some interesting people, some through Liz and other folks in this process, and some of them I think are going to help dial it up for me, in terms of I provide the algos, and they're going to help fill in some of the problems, not the problems, I say more of things that I don't know how to do. And this is part of what I said this morning. I need to let go and delegate a little bit. And, and at times I have had some trust issues because I've experienced times in my life where people steal my work, and it bothers me because I don't steal anybody's stuff. I'm very angry when people steal. I always give credit for other people's ideas, and I don't like it when somebody else takes my ideas and tries to pawn it off as their own. I think it's disgusting, and I think it's the lowest form of our humanity, frankly. And I think it's insulting to your spirit when you do such things. And so that's how I feel about it. I know it sounds a little, maybe, a little silly because I'm doing it for no money, but it's the principle of it that if I'm doing something and I make a personal decision not to get paid for it, I still think I still have a right to how it's disseminated or how it's used and who tries to take credit for it. So anyways, that's the deal. And I go back and forth, right? Because the old Bobby, the Bobby from 15 years ago would probably just say, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm not helping with any of this shit. But the Bobby today, 45 and not 25 and, has 5 kids and thinks about like what the hell can go wrong. And because of me having hurt feelings, it's like, you know what? Suck it up, buddy. Get back on the field. Start doing what the hell you need to do, because the outcome, the alternative, is far worse. And so, this is that whole concept that we talked about a couple days ago, right? With regards to wisdom, what makes wisdom? Bad experiences, and I've had my fair share of bad experiences, but I do think that they all happen for a reason. That's why I never really complain about them anymore. As I did when I was maybe younger. When I have something bad happen, I pray on it and I think about it and I think about what I need to do to minimize, some of the negativity I might associate with it that holds me back and so forth. So let's kind of wrap it up on Proverbs 9 because I'm going over, folks. It's an hour and 10 minutes. So here we go. Wisdom will multiply your days. And there we go. Perfect segue. God just loves to mess with me. Just goes, here you go, Bobby. Here's going to talk about wisdom, and then I'm going to throw Proverbs 9 at you. So wisdom will multiply your days and add years to your life. I like that concept, even though I may have more gray hairs to my years. And I was talking about that today on the morning clip. If you become wise, you will be the one to benefit. if you scorn wisdom, you will be the one to suffer. Wow, this is absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to read it again because we just talked about all this. Wisdom will multiply your days, and it will add years to your life. And if you become wise, you will be the one to benefit. And if you scorn wisdom, you will be the one to suffer. So me, I had somebody try to steal some of my work. I could have, scorned the wisdom and the knowledge from that shitty experience. But I will be the one that suffers, and not the person that did that gave me the shitty lesson. I'm gonna be suffering, and then other people around me. And then if I learn from that shitty experience and do the right thing by my wisdom and what I know I should do and serve, I'll be the one that will benefit. And the nice thing about benefiting is I don't have any preconceived notions of what that benefit is. That benefit might just be a little bit of a cocktail. Like I'm just drinking a little bit of vodka here, folks. This is my holy water. So the priests have their wine, the blood of Christ. I have Polish water. See, look at how clear that is. So, anyways, I always have a little bit of vodka at times. Not that often, but I have a little bit, depending on how I'm feeling. Just kind of like. It helps thin the blood. I happen to have very thick blood. I think it's from the altitude my family's from in the mountains. So vodka definitely does make me feel better, not from any kind of feeling of like from the alcohol. I just definitely feel a difference in my circulatory system. It's very, very bizarre, but it is Polish water. That is absolutely correct. Vodka, voda is Polish. It's VODA, voda. And then some creative marketing person said, okay, let's just call it voda with a K in the middle. Vodka. So anyways, with that, everybody, I hope you guys I hope it was an enjoyable night for you. I shared a lot with you about what's going on. And we're on day number 47. And so today was 46. And then I'll keep everybody posted as all these developments take place and, keep doing what I'm doing. And then what's going on with Wait Bobby? Salute. I like that. Salute. Thank you, Caroline. Wanted to throw out some ideas before you jump off. Okay, go ahead. K is for kick. Okay, what's the ideas? I'm listening. Okay, maybe StreamYard tomorrow. I'm on StreamYard. I'm not sure what you're asking. Allegretto, can you tell him? What are you telling me? Do you want to do some merchandise? We want to support you. With some shirts? I see. What did I say this morning? I was talking about some kind of funny shirt. Like I forgot what it was. Did you lose weight? Did I lose weight? Is that what you're saying, Carol? What is that? Was I fat before? Oh, she wants to join? Yeah, we could do a StreamYard tomorrow. I thought you were saying that I lose weight. Maybe the word Bible using numbers or something. Actually, it's funny because the word Bible, I lost about 10 pounds, Carolina. I've been kind of hovering about only that 10-pound loss. I still need to cut a few more pounds, but I guess 10's a decent start. I just done the time-restricted diet. But Bible is, I had something with regards to a phrase that I came up with Bible, but I was thinking of maybe writing a book on this whole experience with regards to the Bible and, kind of condensing all these thoughts from the past, 46 hours 46 hours of recording. It's kind of funny when you think about it, right? It's been 46. You guys have been listening for 46 hours. Think about how many people we spent 500 hours together. At least maybe more, maybe over 1,000 hours together between 20, 30 of us. That's a lot of time, folks. It's like, yeah, I'll, don't get a big head. I already have a big head though. My head's a little oversized. Jules, I'm just kidding around. But yeah, I'll think of something. I was thinking, I had some ideas for some stuff, and I wanted to kind of get my Python points thing going for so here's what I'm going to do, folks. My wife went to bed early today because it's T-30 right now. I think we got about 30 days before the baby's going to show up. Maybe 40. But so, anyways, I told her get some extra sleep because she looked really tired. But anyways, what I would say is what I'm going to do is put together. I'm going to set up a page for Python points. I'm having it built, a website separate from Preactive, and I'll probably create like a nominal paywall. There'll be different things where it's like, this is the regular version, and then there'll be like a paywall that might be like $5 or $10 a month, and the paywall is going to fund somebody taking care of all this stuff full time. Because I don't have the time to edit everything and clean it up and kind of maybe make it easier for people to hear, if they don't have as much time. And so I'm just going to kind of like run it as a break even, like a cost structure, kind of like a break even kind of cost structure. And so with once I kind of get that paywall set up, or what I end up doing, what I'd like to do is build an army of I know this sounds a little crazy because it's going to be a lot of work, right? And it sounds a little silly, so you're hearing it here first, but I want to build an army of like 300,000 plus Americans across the country. So just like there's about one out of every 1,000 Americans kind of control over 50% of the wealth in this country. If we could build an army of 300,000 patriots, Americans, United Spirits in Christ kind of thing, United Spirits of America, and utilize our talents and come up with a way that people's time is not disrespected, that they're given things to accomplish that make a meaningful difference in everybody's life, and they could see the results. That's the key. I think a lot of people out there right now, myself included, and I think everybody else, we want to see a difference. We don't mind donating our time, but we want to see a return for it. We want to see something happen if we donate our time. And I think that this is so pretty cool. No, I'm not going to do sound bites. Hey, come on, Maria, you know me better than that. If I did a sound bite, it'd be over. So, Maria, what is Maria's idea? Hold on. Vet stories to share with each other in the Bible study group, especially your experience. Yeah, I mean, all this stuff, we should do. I don't know wherever he's located, but I think, what we should do is, I think on Zoom, you can have like up to 100 or more people on there. So maybe I can try to fit, we'll take a look at maybe doing like a Zoom call where everybody can kind of chime in, which is kind of, I'll moderate and just let people kind of chime in. It'll be like a queue or something. It'd be kind of good it'd be fun to have a conversation that way. So don't worry, Donna. I know when the baby comes, I'll still be getting stuff done. I'm not worried about that. We're in the process of looking for an au pair. And so, we have an au pair, and then our girls are going to be going to, now that they're opening up some of this restrictions on the mask and so forth, we're going to do, go back to Montessori school because they're pulling the masks off. So anyways, so two of our girls will be back there in the mornings and so forth. And then we're going to have some help until the au pair comes in. Hopefully they open up some stuff. We found somebody possibly from France or Poland. And so, I'm rearranging things. This whole experience is forcing me to kind of reshuffle my life a little bit, folks. And so I'm trying to get stuff done to make it more, what's the word? More balanced. Okay. Because, my wife's going to kick the piss out of me if I don't free up a little more time for her, like and the kids. Because yes, I do have security and so forth. But I appreciate, I do appreciate the concern. I'm not afraid to defend myself. How's that, Henry? So don't you worry. And I do have some good folks watching after me for that as well. So anyways, yeah. I think that's about it. I think, but look, I appreciate you guys talking about the cups and the mugs and everything. We'll get something figured out. I think the big thing is let's kind of keep doing this, get through Arizona. Let's maybe, if you guys have time, maybe help me with Geneva. I do have ideas on how we can get that figured out. If we can figure out Geneva and show all this, I do think that we can use it across the country. And then maybe each of you can do your part in your community with your town and then possibly your county and if we all kind of band together and we kind of crowdsource it, it makes it a lot more easy, it makes it easier. Guy, I am doing some homeschooling, and at some point I will be, I'll probably, cause I have three kids under 4, right? So what's going to happen, I told my wife, as we kind of keep going, we'll probably just hire a teacher full time because, I have some really, wickedly smart little girls, like, one's 3 in reading already, and, can speak as though they're 7. And so the other one's, not far behind. Well, she's going to be 4, the one that's speaking, doing all this stuff. And the 2-year-old is already trying to call her own shots. We were in DC and she walked for 2 miles, refused to be in a stroller at 2. So it's pretty crazy. But I do think just making them doing everything we can to help them develop is key or critical. And I think, trying to create a better society where everybody can do that is super important. Sure. I'll call you, Jules. You just email me and I'll give you a call tomorrow. But yeah, I think that, then I think that'll be great. And then, I'll let you guys know. And then we'll try to get a Zoom call set up and then figure out what to do to take Geneva back. And then once we kind of take Geneva back, and fix this whole issue with the chicken legs guy, and obviously I'm working on that simultaneously. I'll work on Arizona. That's going to be about 4 to 6 weeks. And then I'm going to work on Georgia, and then I'm going to work on Illinois. So maybe some of this stuff I'll go simultaneously. And so, it'll be good. So, all right. Well, that's about it, folks. Well, then, thank you so much. I know it's almost an hour and a half. I just want to say God bless you. God bless your family and friends. May God continue to bless the greatest nation ever in the history of the world. And may peace be with everyone tonight. And if for some reason you don't have peace, I do believe that if you put your faith in God and do trust what the Lord has in store for you, that peace will find you. So with that, I hope everybody has a wonderful evening, and God bless. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.